Hi, this is Chris, and today we're going to be experimenting with leather. Now, my preference has always been for this kind of rope. It's the heavier weight 8mm PVC rope. I love the fact that you get real feedback from the rope. You know exactly what you're doing. It's much easier when you're learning the moves, and you get a better workout as well because you're having to shift a little bit more weight in the rope. These ropes do wear thin after a while, where the middle of the rope rubs against the ground, particularly if you're skipping outdoors. Now, I've noticed there's a little bit of a trend for leather skipping ropes. Having this kind of system, I thought, well, if I buy a length of rope, I'll be able to make my own. But where do you get them? Well, I found a crafting website that sells lengths of leather rope. I managed to get hold of 5 meters for £9. Here it is, still in the packet. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cut the piece of rope to size, and there should be a couple of spares in there as well. We're going to weigh them to see how they compare. Then I'm going to put the handles on just by undoing the grub screws on a pair of these and sticking the handles on. And then we're going to go hell for leather. Take it on a test skip. The one thing I'm uncertain about yet is that often when you make mistakes skipping, you whip yourself with a rope. Might be a little bit painful with the leather. We'll see. Ooh, and believe me, sometimes they are pretty painful. So we're going to start then by laying out the piece of rope that I use the most on a suitable surface, and I'm going to unfurl the new leather cylindrical rope and cut it to size. I'll talk about how to size up a rope for your height a little bit later on in the video. So let's cut that down to size, and then I'm going to grab one of my spare end pieces. This is really easy to do because it's just got a pair of grub screws, and you make sure they're really tight around the rope. Very rarely do these things come loose, but I do check them occasionally. So let's make sure that's really tight before we take it out on a test skip. I need to put a spare ring on the end as well to attach it to the handle, and let's just pull that really tight to make sure it's going to stay in place when we go for a skip. And that looks like the job is done. Right, before we go for the skip, let's weigh in. The lightweight rope comes in at 93 grams, that's 4mm thickness. My favourite rope, the orange one, 8mm, 163 grams. So what about the leather? Again, 8mm, lighter than I thought, only 138 grams, somewhere between the two. Now when you're measuring your rope, make sure that when it's tucked under your feet and pulled tight, the handles reach your chest, and that should be just about right. We're set up, we're ready to go. What a beautiful location. Sun's coming out. Let's give it a test run. It's taken me a while to get the hang of, but I like it. It feels so different, so much lighter. Well, the verdict on the DIY leather rope, I really like it. It's a little bit light. You don't get as good a response as you would do from one of the PVC ropes, but once you get used to it, and just remember that when you're using a new rope, it takes ages to get the feel for it. It's actually really nice, and it only costs 10 quid.